is wise versus educated. How much is your time worth? Man, I have a business playlist on this channel to talk about business related things for those Yah-fearing commandment keepers that are trying to get out of this system, get out of their dependency on this system. And I want to talk about this because, man, I didn't realize this. I didn't realize this till about 4 years ago. And once I realized it, then the journey began of let's get this thing off the ground. Okay. So society has pushed go rack up debt or go spend your hard-earned money or money that was set aside to go to college to get an education and finish your degree and go apply for a job. Now, on the earlier time frames of the company, what you had was somebody that was wise and understood the system and the process of business. They said, man, I have an idea, okay, and this is how I'm going to birth it. And they didn't really need education to do that. All they needed was wisdom. And what they did was pretty much birth a business, birth a corporation, and grew it to the capacity where it needs employees. Now, it is not a good business model to try to make your employees very well off or very rich. The business model, in order to remain profitable, is how can you get the most work efficiency out of an employee and pay them the bare minimum. And this is where it comes down to how much that we aren't taught. We are programmed either get a job or go to college and then get a job, and we are programmed to be employees. There's very few people. I want you to think in your family, people that you know. How many people do you know out of 100 that aren't employees that actually took the path of ownership? And it all comes down to how much value are you getting for your time? And the reason I'm talking about this is because people are realizing that they cannot afford to pay their bills. They have jobs, they're working jobs, but they cannot keep up with the cost of living. And I tell you, man, if the cost of living got crazy all of a sudden, as a business owner with my business back there, I'll up my prices. I'll stay ahead of it. But, okay, so you start off, you come in there with a college degree, you owe 50, 60,000 on it. By the time it's all said and done, with interest, they're going to get 70 out of you if you pay it off. And they're negotiating down. You're trying to negotiate up. And the number that they slide you per hour or per month or per year is already lower than you realize, because these jobs oftentimes are going to require you. They're going to put such a workload on you to where you can't complete it during the workday, the 8-hour workday. So what do you end up doing? Instead of enjoying dinner with your family, you end up bringing work home. You end up working all through the weekend, trying to be a good employee, trying to get employee of the month, all this different stuff. And they're getting a lot of time out of you for very little value. You're not getting much value out of it at all. And some of these jobs, you have people working around the clock, really don't get a break. They're consumed by work, and they're getting $2,500, $3,000 a month. Now, from my experience, let me tell you something. If you have skills you have real skills that can be turned into assets, man, that is a game changer because now you're getting more value for your time. You know, man, if somebody wants their patio extended, their concrete patio, they want their patio extended another 10, 15 feet. I know as a man that knows how to do this, okay, with materials, the actual concrete and labor, I can find somebody to work 2 days for $100. I'll give them $50 at the end of each day. Man, after materials and labor, I'm no more than $1,000. But guess how much I'm gonna charge the person that wants this work done? I'm gonna charge them $3,000 to extend their patio. And matter of fact, I'm gonna be the guy that can get it done sooner than anybody else. The patio will be dry and they'll be enjoying barbecue well before anybody else could have got the job done. Now, you do the math on that. For 2 days worth of work to extend a patio, if that, you got to prep it, you know, frame it, make sure everything's good, the ground is compact, you know, put a moisture barrier, okay? And then come back and pour. Come back and pour. Depending on the type of year, man, you're looking at a 2.5 day, 2 day project and pocketing $2,000. Now, you cannot compete with that when it comes to value per hour. You can't compete with that. And the difference when it comes to you working on these jobs and there's different pay levels for different positions, the people at the bottom are getting paid the bare minimum. You got a manager who is working the same amount of time as you but getting paid more. And then you have, you know, the chief executive officer where, you know, he's free to do, or he or she is free to do as they please, long as they attend certain meetings and there's certain buy-ins, but they're making a good bit of money. But the real people making the money is the owners. The real people making the money is the owners. Why? Because they don't have to be there. All they have to do is have oversight. Make sure everything is profitable. When it's not profitable, then they got to dive in. These are the people that are able to, you're like, man, how is this man or woman able to spend so much time with their children and be able to do this and do that? Well, they're not bogged down. Their time is not bogged down for very little value. And this is why I created that business playlist, because I want you to understand, you know, I'm giving you the foundation of how to actually stand up, get this thing off the ground. And it's just a matter of time. Once you form the legal structure, get it off the ground, give it some time, give it a year, you'd be surprised how much business would roll in. But we're so programmed into investing all of our time as employers and getting very little return on it. Now, in this daytime and hour, you know, I'm not telling anybody that you don't need to work a job or anything like that. But if you've got a job and they're giving you the weekend off, you get a Saturday and a Sunday off. The Bible says work 6 days, rest on the seventh. So when you think about that, Sunday is first day. And this might be the opportunity that you can use already having time off to start birthing your business. And as your business, you know, gets its roots developed and is birthed, now you can realize, okay, I'm getting more value for my time than I am on the job. And as these layoffs and things like this hit, you know, depending on what your business is, you might be able to say, you know what, I'm going to just go full-fledged in my business because I've grown it to a point where I can take on employees and really not have to be there. That's the win. That's the move. But, man, they don't teach us this. You got college professors teaching business management, teaching all levels of business, but they don't teach ownership. And this is the difference between, okay, you can go out and get educated to work for somebody else, but oftentimes a lot of these owners are not educated. They're just wise. And we have to choose that path. The world told us to be educated. Western culture told us to go get educated. But if nobody else is willing to work outside and swing a hammer and drive nails, and you've got the wisdom to do that, and you see there's more value per hour in that than working for a job, that's the way you need to go. And here's another one, how they get so much time. Man, they told us to work for benefits. You got to think, man, in that 2 day concrete job that I listed out, man, I could pay for a family's worth of medical benefits just off of 1 day of that work. But we're working whole months. We're working months at a time to get these benefits, and it ain't really giving us any value. It ain't really giving us any value or giving us any opportunity to, store up resources the way we want. So we got to get out of that mindset, because I want you to think about this. Nobody talks about the third and fourth order of effects. Once you get a business off the ground and you've got employees, then you can figure out, okay, man, how do I get this thing backed by bonds? How do I get this thing to where now I can start using other people's money and sell off shares to grow this business? Now I got other people invested in it. And once you figure that out, that's the move. That's the move where you can grow you don't no longer, at that point, you no longer need financing once you've got people that are investing in your business because you have sold them shares. All we're taught on the public side is, man, you get you a good job and move up that ladder. We're never taught how to think like the people that actually own it. And ownership is not that far fetched as you may think. But there's the first couple steps that have to happen in order for you to gain that freedom and access your time. Man, when I post these videos of people, talking about they're struggling, they can't pay their bills, they're working jobs, but it's just not enough. We haven't been taught how to gain access to our time. We've been taught how to be slaves for our time for very little. You got to think, man, sharecropping was a term of the old days, but you still got people that are sharecroppers in their mindset. And fear is one thing that's going to stop a lot of people. If you don't have anybody around you pushing you to set something up of your own, you will never have anything. This is why the wealthy, man, they pass on businesses where we work a job and give 20 to 30 years and we've built nothing and we can't pass that on. Okay, you got somebody in your family that retired from the post office 30 years. Can they pass that on to you? What benefits are they passing on to you? Nothing at all. Versus the people who raise their children according, okay, man, this is the business. You're gonna learn the ins and outs of it. So when I'm gone, man, your grandchildren can take it over. But we're not taught that. All we're programmed to do is be an employee, be employees, go work for somebody else, take our education. You mean to tell me, like, there's people out there that have businesses that don't even have all they got is a high school diploma. But yet we've been conditioned to, man, let me go get this degree in underwater basket weaving, pay $60,000 for it from a prestigious institution, and then you're trying to negotiate value for this, and you're never gonna get the equivalent. This is why you got people in their 60s, 70s that are still trying to pay off student loans. There wasn't no value in that, and they knew it. It was about making profit. Why not get on the side of the table, the side of the line where you're getting the utmost value for your time? You can't do what everybody else is gonna do. You got to go a different way. Be willing to go that different way. But I just wanted to share that because, man, there's so many opportunities, and I'm constantly looking at and evaluating, man, what is something that somebody hasn't thought of, or maybe they've thought of, but the market is still available. If you live in If you live in a nice off neighborhood, you know, you got businesses out there that charge people $10 a week, you know, $40, $50 a month to put their trash on the curb and to put it back in their doggone yard. And when you think about, you start crunching the numbers on that and look at, okay, how much time are they doing? They're getting up 3 hours before everybody is awake in the dark of the night. And man, they're putting these trash cans on the street. And at the end of the day, they're doing the same thing. And you think about how much money you can make off of this versus how much time you spent, man, there's so many opportunities. You got guys that pressure wash, literally got a pressure washer, a commercial grade pressure washer in the back of a pickup truck, and all they do is residential. Why residential? Because they gonna hook up to your water hose, use your water, be there for an hour and a half, and charge you $300. That's great value for your time. Problem is, we're not taught that. You got more people telling you, go get a job, go get a job, go get a job. And you never built anything that you can pass on. Only thing most people pass on is debt. Close to the Y'all Ministries, kicking it gun barrel straight.